The Chicago Bears, after leading by 11 points late third quarter, blow a double-digit second-half lead to the Minnesota Vikings, who storm back with 3 straight touchdown drives and defeat the Bears on the road. Now, there is a ton to unpack. As a Bears fan, the first thing you can think about is what's different about the way this looked compared to the previous 20 seasons. There is a lot of reason to be cynical, to get depressed, to get down in the dumps, but there's also a couple of positive things, so that's what we're going to do with this video. We have to start with the negative, of course, because the way that ended left such a bad taste in your mouth, it almost makes you want to go into hibernation for the next 12 months until the next season starts up again, because that's how long we have to wait till the Bears could start a season 1-0. Start with Caleb Williams. Even on the first couple of possessions, he had the completion percentage, was getting the ball out right, but he was not attacking down the field. He was looking off open wide receivers, and during the broadcast, Troy Aikman correctly pointed out that there were openings down the field that he did not take. And as the game progressed, and as a good defensive coordinator and Brian Flores showed, as the game leaned, as the score got a little bit tighter, it was pretty clear that the Bears could not threaten the Vikings whatsoever. I know the final possession, they went right down the field, scored the touchdown, but I almost don't even consider that in the sense of what it meant to this game. Brian Flores showed a masterclass after the Bears went right down the field for the touchdown on the first drive. Caleb was indecisive in the pocket. He reverted back to his old ways like we saw last year, and a lot of what we saw, the off-script, off-schedule stuff, Ben Johnson was unhappy about and tried to eradicate, almost looking to get out of him. Do not want to see it again, and it reared its ugly head many times in this game where he took a terrible grounding call. Now, where did this game flip? Obviously, Bears were up 11 points. We're driving, 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Darnell Wright takes a holding call. A couple of plays later, Caleb's trying to do a little bit too much. Instead of just throwing the ball away, he takes an intentional grounding. Bears actually pick up a couple of yards, but then it leads to a missed Cairo Santos field goal. And after that point, them not going up by 14 points, Minnesota scored every time they touched the football. The Bears defense could not catch up. They were not able to make the adjustments that Minnesota did. It was obvious that McCarthy found confidence. He was in rhythm, getting the ball out on time, and the Bears secondary, without Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, without TJ Edwards in the middle, and a lack of a pass rush, which showed up earlier in the game, did nothing late in that fourth quarter. Now, my original thoughts when looking at this are like, why didn't Kevin O'Connell come out attacking and throwing the football down the field? Because we saw McCarthy really get a surge of confidence, right? That nice strike right before halftime. He was able to pick it up, get Minnesota in field goal range. And we look at a 3-point game, the 4th and 3 where Ben Johnson decided not to take the points and go for it. You can go both ways, debate on that subject, but let's put that as a 1, right? That's 3 points. The end of the half where Minnesota has that completion, their kicker nails a 59-yarder. That's 3 points. Later on in the game, you miss a 50-yard field goal. So those 3 you just take into account in a one-possession game. Those things cost you football games. Also, the challenge when the Bears were up by 11 and Ben decided to throw the challenge flag when it was pretty obvious from the very first look at it that the tight end's knee was down, so a waste of a challenge. So at the end of the game, this really fires me up and gets me upset and mad, because you're calling it out. You're understanding the situation better, obviously, than what the coaches, than what Ben Johnson is seeing. The Bears had a timeout at the end where they're going in to score. I'm saying kick the field goal early because it gives you a chance to get the ball back to tie the game. Because if you score when it's at the 2-minute warning or beyond that point, you just don't have a chance. There's not enough time. 15 seconds come off with 3 plays. A punt takes about 6-7 seconds. You'll get the ball back with about 10 seconds, which is exactly what happened. If you kick a field goal earlier, or in that spot where it's 2:02, you're down by 3, you either onside kick it, give yourself a chance, a lot like that Bears-Vikings game at the end in November last year where the Bears got it back. Or you kick the ball out of bounds on purpose. Minnesota takes it at the 40-yard line, and then you give yourself a chance to get it back with maybe 50 seconds to a minute left on the clock. A whole bunch of things went wrong in this game. So if you're a Bear fan that is obviously very upset, I understand it. All of this, we're not even counting the pre-snap penalties that were in this game, how undisciplined that the Bears were overall. That was what really stuck out. The Bears had 12 penalties for 127 yards. 12 penalties, 127 yards. Does that sound like a team that was well coached and prepared to go out there in week one? It does not. Look, I like Ben Johnson. I loved what he did with the Detroit Lions. Do I think that Ben Johnson is a good coach? I absolutely do. Do I think that he coached well in this game? I don't. And I think that this is a great learning opportunity. I know this will sound weird, but I would almost rather have the Bears lose in this manner, embarrassing, national spotlight made fun of, the videos being made, the memes coming out, and you immediately get thrown into the fire week one, then come away with a win and throwing everything under the rug and expecting you to all to be sunshine and rainbows the rest of the season. This is a shot right now. You're going to question the manhood of every person in Hallis Hall, whether or not they want to show up to work and improve this thing, get it fixed, and turn actually into a good winning football team, or are you going to fold and Ben Johnson will know? Because Ben Johnson is the type of guy that will go back, respond. He'll watch the film and come out with the right game plan the next week. He's ready to go to work. He understands how long the NFL season is. But if there's guys in that locker room that are down in the dumps, they're not ready to improve, that includes Caleb Williams, that includes Colston Loveland, DJ Moore, Montez Sweat, every player on that roster. If you're not ready to get back out there and improve and know that the season is a lot longer than this, and that the quality of play can be better, that you just competed with the team that was 14-3 a season ago, considered one of the best defenses in football, overall one of the better teams in the league, and you really had them. You had them on the ropes, up 11, 2 scores with the ball. I am fired up. You should be too, especially if you're a Bears fan listening to this, because there's those positive signs that they had. They were in that position, but it was essentially an avalanche of 1,000 little cuts that went wrong that led to the Minnesota Vikings pulling out this game. The Bears should have been up a lot more than 4 points at the half. The way that they played defensively, you allowed the Vikings to stay alive, keep the game within 1-2 possessions instead of just knocking them out early in that third quarter, right? Sustaining drives. We saw a lot of sloppiness. Caleb Williams, indecisive, running around, scrambling, backyard football, the stuff that just cannot happen when you're looking to be the franchise quarterback. That needs to be one of the roughest practices that we have ever seen in the history of the Chicago Bears franchise on Monday. I almost want to see Ben Johnson running sprints himself for not understanding your personnel. We know Cairo Santos cannot kick the football out of the end zone. So make a decision, out of bounds or onside kick. You cannot just let him kick the ball, falls 5 yards short, it's in the middle of the end zone, let the Vikings return the ball and just burn off the 2-minute warning. That is a lack of understanding of your personnel. You haven't been listening to your special teams. You haven't been watching him kick, and you don't know the situation. That's on Ben Johnson. Do I know Ben Johnson's going to come back and learn from it? Yes, because that's why the Chicago Bears hired him and brought him in to fix this organization and these problems. Now, to talk about the actual source of the game and statistics here instead of a whole bunch of things that went wrong, we got to give credit to JJ McCarthy, because that's what national champion quarterbacks, that's what's a guy that can win a future Super Bowl, the first for the history of Minnesota, can do, because of the way he bounced back after that terrible half. After he throws a pick six, he's on the road. That performance, the city where he grew up in, right, 13 miles outside of Chicago, the pick six down by 11. How does he bounce back? 3 straight touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Throws for 2, runs for 1, and seals the win on the road against the team you grew up rooting for. That is winning football. That's what Jim Harbaugh talked about, and why he almost considered getting rid of Justin Herbert, a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and getting JJ McCarthy, because of that mental toughness, because of the confidence, the moxie that he has, that he knows who he is. He knows what type of player that he is. He's got the relationship with his teammates that they still have confidence in him, that they can bounce back and do so in a major way. That's why if you're the Bears, you cannot allow a player like that to get back into the game, that to build the confidence, so you have to sustain drives and cannot have missed field goals, penalties, putting yourself into those spots. The Bears rushed for 119 yards, 4.6 yards a carry. That is a start as far as it goes for the offense. They were great against the run in the first half and horrible against the run in the second half. I mean, you look at 120 yards rushing, over 4.5 a carry, and then the touchdown by McCarthy overall in the day. That's not a great job. McCarthy wound up with almost 100 rating, 2 touchdowns, and had the pick, but his ability to move the ball in the fourth quarter far surpassed Caleb Williams. That miss to DJ Moore cost the Bears they cost them the 2-minute warning and the ability to get the ball back with a minute instead of just 10 seconds, because he had DJ Moore wide, naked open, and missed him, threw the ball way off target, out of bounds. DJ's 3 catches, 68 yards. Odunze, 6 catches, 37 yards, targeted 9 times in this game, spread the ball around decently well. The completions were there. The completion percentage was high. Caleb didn't make mistakes in the sense of turning the football over. But at this point, looking back on it, you would have rather had him throwing the ball all over the yard, almost throwing a pick or 2 in the first half, and to give you a sense of more confidence and aggressiveness from him going forward on the season, and not conservative. That is the fine line, and what's fascinating when you have a young quarterback. Where do we draw the line? Are we going to be aggressive and open this thing up versus being too conservative? And that's the exact job and the responsibility of the head coach of Ben Johnson. Overall, when you look at this game, what you would rate it for a performance of the Chicago Bears, I'm going to give it a D. This is a failing grade. You have a 10-point lead at home against a quarterback that's in their first career start. You're not able to hold on to a win. That is a fail. You do not pass this class, buddy. The performance from Caleb, he needs to play better. He knows he does. It looked like Ben Johnson was physically ill on the sidelines at times, seeing how poorly the offense was operating. Dennis Allen did a great job, right? The defense played great up until that fourth quarter. So a lot of things get cleaned up. But a lot of people that are upset and not happy about playing Detroit next week, I'm fired up for it. Because let's go find out what this team is made of week 2 against the Detroit Lions, what they will play like. Do they bounce back, or do they continue to sulk in a hole and drop to 0-2 on the season? 2 conference losses, 2 divisional losses, and already this season looks to be in, I guess we'll just come up with the word shambles. But overall, Minnesota Vikings, that is an A+. JJ McCarthy, you throw the pick 6 and come back. I'd rather have you have the pick 6 and bounce back than have thrown for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had no mistakes, because you know that if it goes wrong, McCarthy's going to stay in the fight and give his team a chance. So I appreciate you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos in the future. We make videos every single day. Very excited that football is back. Although I am a Bears fan, I am a fan more than anything of good football when it comes down to it. Coaches making the right decisions, quarterbacks playing sound, you call the timeouts at the right spot, you challenge things correctly, and overall, the fact that this was not a well-played game from the Bears and was from Minnesota, you got to give them all the credit in the world, and you can't be upset. It's more so a sense of disappointment. It's almost like I kind of understand what parents feel. It's like I'm not mad. I'm more disappointed. So I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.